it doesn't matter. I mean, you're down. But I mean, they're running out of ways to promote. It's like when I told Joe Rogan on his program, how are they going to get the $4 billion they paid for the UFC? They're not. It's not possible. That's not, it doesn't create enough cash flow. And just imagine, let's say they did 100% debt. $4 billion in debt. Now let's just say it's 5% interest. Let's say that they got it from a commercial bank, which wasn't. It's 5% of $4 billion. $200 million free, unencumbered, unleveraged cash flow. UFC does not have $200 million unencumbered free cash flow a year. And if they borrowed it from somebody other than a commercial bank and they're paying 10%, they certainly, if they don't have 200 millions, they don't have 400 millions. I mean, the dog just doesn't hunt. I mean, the numbers don't, it sounds like one of your deals. The numbers don't work out. And when you get to not even good, get mediocre at this, you'll be able to look at a deal. And when I look at deals, I only look at the financial summaries. I'm not interested in all the other bullshit. And when I look at audited accounts, the only thing I look at are the footnotes. Because all the lying, cheating, and stealing are in the footnotes. I don't look at the numbers. You look at the footnotes. And footnote 11, footnote 3, whatever. And when they have 300 footnotes, I pass. I'm not interested. Also, if the financials are 15, 17, 19 months, in other words, instead of 12 months, I pass. Because they've smooched some shit together to make up for something, and that's why it's more than 12 months. So I look at the footnotes in the financial summary. The financial summary normally has the cash flow, and we're going to teach you how to calculate unencumbered, unlevered, uncommitted cash flow. Because that's the only real money you got. All the rest is hocus pocus. Hocus pocus. But you'll be able to look at the deal and just go through deals like crazy. Just look at the numbers. Now, when you go to KKR, Blackstone, or one of the big private equity guys, they have rooms this big from the floor to the ceiling of deals. Unread deals. The best way to get a deal looked at legitimately is, I went to school with his brother, okay? And I say, Joe, would you ask so-and-so, Rossetti, to look at this deal, and if it's of any interest whatsoever. That's how you get a deal read. Because the private equity guys, the hedge fund guys, are all inundated with deals. What they have is they have a room of 10 or 15 young MBAs just out of school reading deals as practice. And that's why when you go into these private equity, and I'm not telling you to go to private equity, when you go into the private equity meetings, they've got 2 or 3 people in there taking notes, learning. The joke is that they don't know you're learning as well. So, you've got a bunch of people in there, neither side knows anything. Okay? It's like the blind leading the blind. But most of the deals that are out there, you can't finance. You can't finance. Because startups, by definition, you can't finance. You have to find a special startup fund, incubator fund, or some kind of fund that understands that they're not going to be able to get a return any on capital. They're not going to get any return because they have no revenue. And many of the people that you'll talk to about your deals will tell you, okay, that's fine. We like the concept. Bring it back to us when you're cash flowing. Well, fuck. And you'll think, you won't say, well, if I was cash flowing, I wouldn't need you, asshole. But and so the thing is that they want to prove, and they want you to prove your concept, not just prove it on paper, because remember, no business plan fails on paper. They want you to prove it in reality. In reality. And there's a quantum leap, pun intended. There's a quantum leap between your idea of making a certain thing a black box that turns shit into gold, and actually turning it into gold. And they want a proven concept. You will get in the door to many financial institutions on the track record on the back of your chairman and your dream team. Because they'll say, well, these guys must believe in so and so. And they do. But again, remember, dream teams don't put up money. They give you your time. And the time is more important than the money. You won't think so when you can't pay your mortgage, but you'll think that the money would be more important than their time. Okay. When we last left, we had 3 banks or 3 deals. We took 1 deal. We found a financial institution that was interested in it. We went through this. We were talking about psychiatric outpatient clinics. Okay. Whether it's Obamacare stays, which I hope not, or the new Trump care, whatever it's called, there are going to be segments and sectors of healthcare that are still very doable vis-a-vis our fragmented industry concept, and there are going to be financial institutions that are lending in those areas. But you don't know, and when you narrow your scope down to what you're doing, like the young lady that was on the webinar earlier, she's doing dental practices. One of the things that we're going to talk about tomorrow, the most cherished financial credit on the planet are dentists. Dentists have the best track record for payback debts of any profession in the world. Dentists, not doctors, not lawyers, not accountants, dentists. And there are funds around the world. Now, in some countries, you have to be a dentist or have a dentist at least own 50% of the company, a holding company. In some, you don't. But there are banks around the world that have special funds set aside just for dental practice roll-ups because they're such a great credit. I told you about the 2 exits to the Canadian pension funds from 8 and 15 years ago. And they're just great credits. They just are. There are certain industries that are piss poor credits. Whereas veterinary practice might be great in Atlanta, they're no good in Utah. And why chiropractic practices may be good in the Southwest, they're not any good in the Northeast. But there's studies that are written about these when you start to delve into where you're going to focus your time in what general area. I mean, insurance companies write these studies. Graduate schools of business write these studies. University of Michigan is, in addition to their great economic forecast that they've become famous for the last 30 or 40 years, writes a lot of these studies. And it doesn't tell you whether you're going to make money in them, but what it tells you what is the general concept of the financial world about them. Because there's no reason to be a salmon swimming uphill, or not uphill, upstream. And so you want as many of the flags red, not red, but yes, for whatever you're going after. The optometrists are normally good credits. And there's virtually virtually most things that you'll think of are capable of a roll-up. I don't know if I told this group, but when I went to Cuba, everything, is subject to a roll-up. I said you could put a yellow page down and let it just blow in the wind, and whatever page it stopped at, you could consolidate that. Whatever the fuck, because everything can be consolidated there. The challenge in Cuba is that you need a Cuban partner. And and I'm sure there are capable Cuban partners. I don't know any of them because I've only just been down there with Sally for a couple of days. But everything that I've talked about, if you speak Spanish, you should go to Cuba. If you speak Farsi, if Trump doesn't blow Iran off the map, you should go to Iran. If you speak French, you should go to Haiti. Because they have nothing. Their infrastructure is just non-existent. And I haven't been to Haiti. Tried to invade it once, but I've never been there. And I haven't been to Iran, but I have been to Cuba now. And everything I said about Cuba is true. That they just, it's like a bird's nest on the ground. And the first people that go there are going to make a lot of money in consolidation. That's assuming that Trump doesn't stop because Castros don't do whatever. They're supposed to release some prisoners. Of course, now the Trump bump is safest in America. But if Trump decides that he doesn't like Raul Castro, okay. I've sent kids down to Cuba, and within 3 weeks, they were meeting with Castro's son, oldest son. I've sent kids to Iran, and unfortunately, we're not sure exactly what happened, but it appears that maybe he got arrested. And I've sent kids to Haiti that speak French. But Haiti's a rough place to live, I'm told. And if you're used to the creature comforts, which most of us are, you'll weigh the creature comforts against the money you can make. And you make that decision better than I. But there's plenty of opportunities out there. There's plenty of opportunities to use QLA. But if you're going to go to one of those countries, you need to make sure that the guys on your board, some of them speak Spanish if you're going to go to Cuba. Some of them speak French if you're going to go to Haiti. It'll be tougher to get people that speak Farsi, which is the Iranian language. But I mean, there's no shortage of opportunities. Any questions on the interviewing process? The board, etc. Tomorrow we have a lot of stuff to still go through because we're only halfway done in a few minutes. But I started the role playing early because I say this slightly tongue in cheek because of the retardation level of the group. But everything so far that I mentioned about is in a podcast. Sean, do you agree? Yeah, okay. He's kind of my validation button. He's Middle America, Ohio. It's like George Washington never told a lie. So we're giving him the benefit of that, not just because he lives near my younger son, but okay. You have a question? Okay. That's it, kids. We'll see you tomorrow at YouTube. Thank you.